Hey there, how's it going? Welcome to part number 4. A sort of second part, really, to that side of things. So basically, what happened is I was doing a stream, and you probably saw the battery level went a bit low. And essentially, I've looked down and noticed that someone's kicked the charger and knocked the charger cable out of place. So yeah, that's a pain in the backside, isn't it, really? So we go again, essentially. I'll share my screen and we'll flow with where we're at. Either way, like I say, if you missed this video or you start watching, later on in the part side of things, it's not the end of the world. Device battery is low, apparently, but it shouldn't be low because it's charging right this second. So we'll ignore that message. Okie dokie. So, right. We were midway through offering Lewis Spencer a contract. So here's where we are. Lewis Spencer hopefully will become the new coach. We've played a match. I didn't take control of it because I made some changes, essentially. So we have played a game. It was a friendly match against Nantwich. I haven't got the foggiest who Nantwich are. This was the outcome of that match, that friendly game, and it looks like our team did pretty well, with the exception of maybe Beresford. As a result, what I've done, if I show you in the tactics section, I've shifted Beresford and Morgan Smith around to see if that bears any kind of fruition. Maybe gets Beresford's form up for the next match. The next match is in a couple of days' time. It's 6 days against Stourport. Our left back, though, people, our kiddie left back. That sounds weird when you say kiddie left back. Kiddie is a very strange word to say. Kiddie, not something you associate with football. But yeah, left back is injured. However, the good news is he's only out for 5 to 8 days, so we should see him again potentially for the Stourport match, probably the game after that. So not the end of the world. We are still waiting on the big news about Omar Niasse. So I've mentioned him a few times. If you're wondering why I'm making such a song and dance about Omar Niasse, he is an ex-Everton sort of centre forwardy, wingery, inside forward player. He was quite decent for them, not phenomenal, but decent for them back in the day. The reason I know that is because not only do I love football and Football Manager, I also love fantasy football, Premier League fantasy football in particular as well. I do my team every year, every season. And I remember at one point I had Omar Niasse actually in my fantasy team. So it'd be great if we can get him to the Agbra. That'll be fantastic. So we fly on beyond. For those of you that didn't see, we have a new physio, and we have a new scout, Paul Molesworth. I've created a new nickname for him. Paul Molesworth has joined us, and Darren Watt accepted our offer. So we've got some good foundations. We've got 15 and 15 against the scout, which is great. And in the physio side of things, we've gone from having a really low scout, if you saw the first video, to having Molesworth, and we've gone from having a really low sort of physiotherapist stat to now having Darren Watt, who might make a bit of a difference in the injury. Might even help Reece, we never know. Also, we missed out on a assistant manager. So we are going to retain the services of Neil McDonald. Any kiddie fans watching this video or this free live stream, let me know if that's a good thing or bad thing. What do you think of Neil McDonald? Is he something just to do with Phil Brown, or is he a bit of a legend at the club? I don't know. No idea. Again, being the kiddie Minister Harrier manager is a completely new thing for me. So we fly on. One thing I have done, actually, and I'll show you again, is after every game, I highlight all the players, I right-click training and rest, and I give them a day's rest. I force that upon them, and that creates the orange rest box against them, so I know for sure that they're definitely getting that rest. And I do that even on league games and on friendly matches. Okay, Nicky Law looks like he's going to be signed up by another possibly a set of teams. That's fine. We will let Nicky go. He's someone I had on my list, on my staff list, but we brought in our scout, which is pretty good. So I only really want one staff member in each position. We don't want to overspend the staff budget. off we fly. Now, I may at some point put some background music on for you guys to listen to if you want to, in between the the game and while we're waiting. Here's an interesting one: the news we've all been waiting for. Oumar Niasse so far has agreed to sign for us. That is great news. That is really good news. That's fantastic news. Yes, go on, Niasse. He's waiting on a work permit, so all is not yet sealed and signed, sealed, and delivered. Yeah, I'm yours. Not quite there yet, but possible. Now, one thing that hasn't happened yet is we haven't had a scout assessment of him yet, so we'll have to see if our scout actually checks that out. We'll find out. So our coaching team is big enough already, apparently. Let me see. Is it forcing us to have to get rid before we bring in at this point in time? So one thing's for sure is we don't need 2 senior coaches. Let's have a look who's got the best attributes to keep. We have Brandon Bevins, who's 7 and 5, or we have Charlie Tonks. I think it looks like Bevins is the dedicated mutual termination. Unfortunately, he's going to see his way out. It's only going to cost us £1,000 to get rid. And I know £1,000 probably a lot from Kidderminster, but yeah, we are really with that sense. Lee Evans, I'm not too impressed with, so we will get rid of him just in case it is forcing us to get rid of staff beforehand. Let's see. Now we might need to go back in for Lee Jones at some point. Probably not now because he's going to be unhappy with us, but definitely something to keep an eye on. I'll see if we can. Yeah, so he's added to our shortlist. So I'll keep an eye on Lee Jones as the sort of days go on. Lewis Spence, good. So we're going to get at least 1 coach in. That's great news. And click on the button there. We're also going to get our fitness coaching in Adam Simpson. So we've got a pair of staff members coming in. They're going to strengthen us further, which is good. No, we're not. What's going on here? Adam Simpson is a fitness coach, and apparently we don't need another fitness coach. Right. Oh, they're being proper difficult, aren't they? So it looks like we're going to have to get rid of Charlie Tonks as well. See what I'm doing? I'm thinning the staff here. It has to be done, I suppose. I assume what they're doing is they're seeing even just regular coaches as taking up slots and spaces in our setup, really. Tom Palmer, interestingly, is a coach. That's odd. Unless he's planning to retire soon. We've already got a goalkeeping coach. I don't think I could do much of that. I've not actually come across that, especially at a young age, having a player goalkeeping coach. He's basically goalkeeping coach to himself and to Dibble and maybe to a couple of the youngsters, but yeah, we'll see. So thinning the herd a little bit. There's quite a few under 18 coaches, and really I'm picking the best of the bunch. So Andrew Glover is not the greatest. Mind you, saying that he's good with youngsters by the looks of it. He's got excellent youth team qualities. Matthew Hatfield is okay, but not great. Maybe I have to be brutal here and just say, just because Andrew Glover's got good working with youngsters, perhaps I can make him a young youth team coach, a youth coach. Let's have a little look. So he doesn't get head of youth development, maybe because he's got the ability. Okay, he's willing to take that. So good. He has the ability working with youngsters. He's got a really high he's got a really high stat for that. So I might as well give him an opportunity rather than kick him out. And that leaves us then with a decision to make about this, which is quite easy. Matthew Hatfield has slightly lower attacking and defensive qualities and across the board, really. So Hatfield is unfortunately going to be axed as well. And that was okay. So he's gone. Right. So paving the way now, once again, for trying to bring in the staff that we want and to see. So we've got 2 out of 3 coaches. That's still not enough wiggle room, really. I suppose the goalkeeping coach, I might have to accept that we've got Tom Palmer doing that job. Fitness coach is quite important, really, in my opinion, even though I want another goalkeeping coach. That must be the way to go. So the fitness problem I've got is I might have burnt bridges with the other fitness coaches because the board have blocked me each time from bringing in a fitness coach. So you're seeing already, you might be thinking, what's going on here? You're seeing the tribulations, the trial and tribulations you get with this game. You've lined up something. Oh, here we go. Good. Our first choice is happy again. We can approach him. Let's see if we can do a bit of a cheeky deal with him. We can. I've knocked down 5% off his promotional wage rise. I think we gave him 20 before. Good. So we shall be getting a fitness coach, and hopefully, all being well, that goes through. So team's starting to shape up. Backroom staff is starting to shape up a little bit. All is going okay for Kidderminster at the moment. So Harriers are doing well. Bit of training going on today. Physical and outfield. Let them do their thing. Oh, no. Now, luckily, I mind you saying that, he's a half-decent player for under 21s. And that was something I was going to look at in the next part, is scouring. I did mention this before, but scouring the development centre to see if they've got any prospects. And he could well have been someone I looked at. And I tell you what, he's finishing as 12. It's acceptable considering his age. Acceleration and pace is pretty decent. Off the ball, he looks good, so he's probably going to be good at movement. He's got a decent, 10 is okay, but looking at his height, he's probably not going to be he's not going to be a target man or anything like that, but he would have been a quite decent player, so that's a bit of sad news. They've lost him for that long. 3 months as well, that's big. Okay, scouting. Here we go. Let's see what we're going to get. Well, I've learned not much from that, apart from a few more yellow areas have become more clear. So he looks okay, this guy does. Not phenomenal, despite the fact that apparently he's a superb signing for the future. Superb signings. I'm not going to say he's a superb signing for the future. I'm not going to say he's particularly great. I don't think it'll add much to the team with his stats. This one might, though. Alex Baker. Let's see if we can do a cheeky deal on loan for Alex Baker. 10% they want. I wonder whether they'd let us have him. It's just going to check to see if there's any way we can block them from okay, so it's already there. Yeah, I thought so. So they're basically strong-arming us into saying that they're not going to accept the fact that we're not willing to pay a percentage wage. I wonder if they'd be willing to accept if we do £1,000 a month fee. Yes, they would. Okay. Which might seem like a lot, but when you think about everything else in the grand scheme of things, might get us over the line with that signing. It's this difficulty with this game, especially when you're trying to loan. You've got to be really clever, I found, with the way in which you structure deals and structure, offers, etc. Even if it's whether it's a loan side of things, a team that are friendly with you, or whether it's a rival, whether it's a loan or it's a transfer, you've got to play around with options here. Except that's good. He looked okay, actually, as a player. I like the fact that he's got good finishing. First touch is really good. His acceleration is acceptable. He's got a jump and reach. 6'2" as well, so he's got a bit of height to him. His heading needs work, but I just wonder if we play him, whether that might just become something that we develop. And we could do with numbers. As I said, I'm quite, interested in the striker side of things. I might cancel this if the Nias signing goes through and I like the look of him instead. It might be one or the other. We haven't got thousands and thousands and thousands and millions of pounds to work with, really. Oh no. Okay, so he's been rejected. I think we'll appeal it and see if that goes through. It costs, but I've been talking about all my Nias for quite a while now, in terms of having him. We will find out on the 16th, so tomorrow. Okay, Reece Devine's back. That's great news. We've got our in the game against Stout, the bird. Actually, I think was it Swifts having their kind of migration craze. It's like they're having some kind of breakdown in the air. It's going mental, sort of flying into each other. It was crazy. Okay, wow. Okay, that's a victory and a half. We basically destroyed them 7-2. Let's have a little look at the match report. I don't want the highlights. Okay. Yeah, so it looks like, I don't know if it was just because of the team we played, but it looks like Beresford and Morgan Smith carried on performing well. He's gone up. In fact, he got 4 goals in that, so nice one, Morgan. Beresford got a higher score. Again, it could have just been the opposition we played, and it was more straightforward. Palmer got a lower score, but technically we conceded 2, which is a bit of a worry, and Downing got a low score at 6.5. So that's the second time. Downing had 6.6 in the first game, 6.5 rating this time, so he's dropping a little bit. We will put that down to just that particular game while he's working up fitness training. Once again, this is what I do, by the way. I am conscious of the fact that the resting session isn't properly rested. It really should state rested by the players when they have a rested session, but automatically sort of flag them as rested like it just did there, but it doesn't do that, and it makes me think, did they actually get rested for the following day? And over the years that I've been playing Football Manager, which is said at the first video, probably about 15 years or so, I've got into the habit of trying to find the rested button, just so I know for my own peace of mind that it's actually the play, and it makes a difference. I'll make that clear. It does make a difference with injuries. If you don't rest them manually like I did there, and you let the game rest them, I've done this before. I've found that they actually get injured a lot more, and I don't know if they actually are rested properly. Okay, so we've been given a choice here in terms of the dimensions of the pitch. Now, I, for some reason, always like minimum or current dimensions, but if it's another team whereby the minimum is still lower than the current dimensions, I will always select minimum, because I want us to be imposing on the team. I want it to be small. I don't want the pitch to be big and we sort of feel like it's a lot of space to run into, and it might be something that other teams that might be equally as attacking, they take sort of controller side of things. So by making it smaller, I like to make it small. It's my thinking about Highbury back in the day as an Arsenal fan. I used to like the idea that it was quite intimate as a ground, and the pitch was quite intimate. It felt like you were sort of part of the actual game, really, and part of the actual atmosphere. So I'm going to go minimum, simply put. Okie dokie. So we beat Stourport Swifts 7-2. Getting Kidderminster Harriers. Well done, you guys. And we should be very happy. We should be very happy. Temper expectations. Very happy. It is still, after all, a friendly. And people, the moment has come. I've literally just started salivating because Omar Nias has accepted our offer, and more importantly, the work permit has gone through. Now, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to press accept, and it's going to be a disappointment. But you know what? I don't care. I don't care. We're going to bring him in, and we're going to see how good he does. And Andrew Glover's just accepted our head of youth development, which is great news. So now we have Omar Nias. Oh, look at those juicy feedback. And that is what we've got, people. That right there is what I sort of expected. This is, after all, an ex-Premier League player. This is, after all, a player that I personally had in my fantasy team a few years back. Look at his history. He is a travelled guy. Now, aside from Burton, Morecambe and Macclesfield, this guy's been to Huddersfield, Everton, Cardiff, Hull, Lokomotiv Moscow, Akishbor. I know these guys in Turkey, Bran, and those guys in Norway. So we are talking about, okay, he's travelled quite a bit, but a well-travelled player. There's only one thing that concerns me a little about Omar Nias, and that is because he's 34 years of age and Football Manager. Pretty much every Football Manager I know, especially 2024, FM24, likes to retire everyone every 5 minutes. We may not get Nias for as long as I would like him to be in this team, because I can see Omar Nias, providing he signs again at the end of his contract for another year, etc., I could see him being at the club for a while. Couple of years, couple of seasons at least. I don't agree with this part here, maybe past his best, because I think we'll see a terrific player. I would compare the way he is, his stats, and what I know of him as a player to all of these guys, and I see that his work permit has expired, mind you, so I don't know what that means in terms of playing. We'll have to see because we've signed him, but yeah, I don't think we can again. So 120 days. We've got him in anyway, so that's a start. I'll see if we can do something with him. We will have to see if we get him. I'll work permit a bit later on. I'm going to sit on the fence because I don't know much about it. Okay, there's a bit of negativity around the work permit side of things, but hey, we've got him in, and in terms of status, that's going to make a bit of a big deal because even just having a player at that team in our team might well draw attention and might well make other players sit up and go, okay, there's a big time player there, work permit or not, who's part of the team. So we'll see. We will see. I don't know if that means we can't play him. Probably does if we can't get a work permit for him. So I'll have a look at that as we play. Not had work permit issues before. So it's clearly something that's a bit particular down in the lower leagues. So what we got here, McGuinness is being looked at. Yeah, I'm not feeling McGuinness really. As someone I'm sort of concerned about other teams pinching. Let's have a look at our shortlist where we are. So Becker we had to look at, and he could be coming in. And part of me wants to have a little look at this guy really, so I think I might do something a bit different. Let's give him a trial, see if he's willing to accept a trial. Let's give him a 4-week trial with a view to a permanent one potentially. So let's see if he's willing to go. Okay, immediately he's happy. Okay, let's see what he's got. Can't see much on that. I was hoping that would reveal something. Coach's report says he's quite good there, mind you. An important player who could still improve. What do we do? Well, how much is he looking for if we do try and bring him in? Because again, I'm looking at attacking. If Nias's work permit is going to be an issue. Okay, so he wants quite a big wage as well. That's my only problem. Well, let's tie him down for a couple of years because then we might have a resale value on him. And let's see if we can get him for a bit less than 3. So he's a bit particular about the wage. Let's try and go 3. No, he wants a 12-month contract. Okay, let's see. Well, I see no harm in doing that, giving him a one-off. Once again, I don't know if his work permit would cause a problem if he needs that, so we'll see if that pops up and becomes a sticking point. And you'll notice I'm going for a lot of foreign players here. Again, rules might restrict that side of things. I do have Bakker potentially coming in on loan. But that's because I'm working what we got, really. You know, that's the areas, really. I could get in a load of random average small-time players which won't do anything for the team, really, and just be there to make up numbers. Or I could look at players that are going to elevate the team a bit more, essentially, if, you know, restrictions are allowed, etc. And that's sort of what I think in terms of management side of things from a football manager perspective. Again, do you guys agree? It's one of those questions, isn't it, really? Drop comments, etc. Leave feedback either on Facebook or on X or on YouTube, because I don't think you can unless you're making notes on Twitch. I've got lots of viewers. So let's have a look here. We've still got an injury to Reece Devine. It's nothing major. It's just a gashed up a leg. He'll be back pretty quickly, I would have thought, from that. Let's have a look, see if he is. Yeah, he's got no flag against him, so he's good. McGuinness is gone, so we might as well get rid of him. That's interesting. They nicked him from us, did they? But he's no loss, really, in my opinion. Right, let's have a look at our development centre, because I want to see what we've got available. Maybe it's time to start looking at promoting. Let's see if there's someone worthwhile putting into the first team. Josh Bishop looks okay. So once again, I've done it. Let's do it by ability, straight up ability. Substitute, I don't see much there. I don't see anything here. Maybe not even the pace is there. Alexander, again, I don't see anything there. Priest, I don't see anything there. Ryder, kind of. What I'm looking for, this guy I probably will put in the senior team, but the worry is he's out for 3 months. But what I'm looking for is someone who can be a backup on the bench, and despite the age and the years of the player, have something maybe to offer us. And we do need numbers. Dominic Hall looks like he could be okay in the future, but I just don't like this eccentric sort of statistic that's there. And he could end up being a bit of a liability, really. There's nothing wrong with a bit of eccentricity. You think about Edison and Allison, the goalkeepers in the Prem, and they're quite eccentric, aren't they? Sam Downs, yeah. So I'm sure you guys can see the same. I know I'm whizzing through this part because at the end of it all, when it comes to Football Manager, there's a lot of blurb and background nonsense that you've got to get through first before you start truly playing. It's probably one of the interesting things about doing a live stream on Football Manager is that there is a lot to look at. Some people will just glaze over this, and you'll probably see a lot of videos where they've almost fast forwarded the game to the point where they're probably halfway through the season by now. Right, okay, so we've got a player here, Josh Yeboah, not like Tony Yeboah, Leeds United back in the day. He might have something. He's not got much in the way of full-on pace, but there's a bit there in terms of the forward side of things. He can finish, so he might be worth bringing in to take a look at. Take him out of the youth team. Trevor Campbell, not really, and Owen Hughes again, not really. So we've got two players we've brought in. One that's injured, and another one who's a really young youth player. But hey, when you're in a Vanarama North League, every player is critical really for you. So let us see what happens, and let's move on from that. Okay, we've got something in our inbox. That's just the okay. So we're getting work permit problems again here. Let's see again. You would say learn your lesson, AJ, wouldn't you? You tried to get Umar Nias and had a work permit issue, and yeah. Yeah, we've got a transfer budget, so we might lose out on Backer as a result. Yeah, the wage budget shot a little bit, so let's see how we go. I'm going to have to delay him. Off we go again. So it's safe to say that all of these players that I'm looking at, I think even if we did have a decent wage budget, I don't think we'd be able to bring in half of these anyway. I mean, he's not great anyway. Harry Christie, let's be honest, and Hawkins. So even though we've scouted these players, I'm not jumping for joy with their feedback. So squad list time. There we go. Something fun. You guys, if you've obviously seen and played Football Manager quite frequently, are fully aware of what's about to happen. I'm literally starting to give out squad numbers to players. Now, I tend to do the preference first and see if anyone's got a number that they want. Let's move this up the way so I can see. Is 26 available? Yes, it is. Okay, you're welcome to have 26. And then I'll work through who's first team and who's not really in terms of the numbers they're getting next. So we know that Candola's going to start playing first team potentially for us, but he's still raw, still young, and he's still sitting on the fence with him and McAnally. So I will give him probably a 17. Downing, we know, has got an opportunity to be a first team player. I'm probably going to give him a 4 or 5. I think I'll come back to 4 or 5 in a minute. We'll give Luke Summerfield 4 because he's a definite shoehorn into the team. Divine, I might give him 5. In fact, I'll swap those two numbers around just to give him a slightly higher number. There we go. Luke Summerfield can have 5. Downing, we know he's going to be playing, so I'll give him something like, I don't know. I want to keep probably a 12 or 13. Should we go goalkeeper? Let's keep 13 free and go 12 for Downing. So I'm looking at first team players first, as you can see. Work backwards that way. Beresford is an interesting one, actually. And Nias might not even play, but I'm going to give him 7 anyway. Ben Beresford, I'll give him a tricky one. I'll give him 15. I'll give him 8. Obadei, I did buy creative mode full players here. 27. Again, now I'm just going to go random. I do this all the time on Football Manager. I start thinking to myself higher numbers for young players that are, still coming through the ranks, who've just been brought into the first team fold, so they're going to be higher. I won't give Christian Oxlade-Chamberlain a number because he's out on loan, and I'll give this guy number 24 just because It's a nice little number between everything. Okay. So I think that's all of it. Let's just make sure, move that back over here. There we go. I've submitted the numbers. Good. Okay. Now, a lot of people look at those numbers and think number 1 means it must be this and number 2 must be this. I don't entirely follow that rule of thumb, as you saw there. I've got a couple of players in, different positions, first team, that don't necessarily have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They are alternated slightly different. So it doesn't have a particularly big bearing or significant bearing, the numbers. So let's have a little look here. So we're home to Barnet today, 22nd of July, 4 days before my birthday. This is, or 2 actually, a couple of days before my birthday. So there we go. What we got here? Let's have a look. I don't know what the result is based on that. I can't see. Kidderminster dominate in a 4-1 win. There we go. Aminu scored as well. Okay, good stuff. So we did fairly well. Let's have a quick look at the report again. Candola didn't do too great, but everyone else, including Downing, played well. Palmer was sort of a performance of 6.6, but everyone else looked good. Beresford's back to being a high score again for the second match. Morgan Smith scoring, so that's good. So the swap over there was pretty good. At least that looks like it was pretty good, but we are playing certain teams that may not give us a true reflection. Okay, so once again, we're back to my wonderful highlight, right click and rest. And off we go. So we're flying through the days now. Rest and recovery day, which there will definitely be because I've set it that way. Okay, we've got Solihull Moors. So it's a sort of a semi-friendly, but at the same time, it's a sort of rival friendly, isn't that one? Solihull and Kiddie, okay, they're different sides, but yeah, not Mars part. Okay, off we go. Let's get closer to the game. And so we're flying through the friendlies right now, which is good. You're starting to see the team in full flow. We've won every game so far, which is promising. But I don't really, I don't really pay attention entirely to that because it's not until you start actually playing against the teams in and around you in the league itself that you get a true reflection of how we are as a team. Let's have a look. Burke. Which Burke is that? I like to look at these kind of things. I don't know. Marshall Burke. Okay, that could be an issue. If you choose to appeal, you may choose to appeal if you believe him. Yeah, but that doesn't mean necessarily he has. Yeah, so his points and his international could be a problem, which is ironic because if I look, oh, no, that was all about. Tranmere Rovers think they can get him for free, but I wonder whether they have got the different sort of, because they're in League Two, whether there's slightly different rules in terms of work permits. Yeah, I don't know about this one. It's a tricky one. Pop a note in the comments, guys, what you think I should do with this, because obviously we've been burnt a tiny bit with Umanias, although his work permit might be okay in November. Amino, am I just wasting money on these two players that are clearly going to be causing problems down the line? What I'll do is I'll appeal it, but I won't necessarily accept the transfer if it comes through. I'll have to have a think about it whilst I wait for that to go through. It at least allows us to progress the game a little bit rather than just sit on that one. Okie dokie. Off we go again against Solihull Moors. Whereabouts they sit in terms of level with us, really. Let's have a look. So we drew. Okay. So Solihull Moors are in the Vanarama National League as well. So they're ahead of us. They're in the National League. Okay. So we've drew with a team in the National League. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Good opposition that is if we drew. Key member of the Solihull side claimed that his team were fortunate to escape from this friendly with a draw, so we did so well to the point where they were lucky to draw. Match report suggests team did okay. Lambert didn't do well on the left. Davis didn't do well in mid. The rest of the team, and Candela was sort of okay, but not phenomenal. Morgan Smith, yeah, didn't do great. So against team, let's be honest, above us, in theory, yeah, we didn't do too bad. We held our own, which is good. I'll take that. And it gives us a bit of an idea of what it's going to be like if he says if we get promoted in that sense. So we'll have to see how we go. Okie, off we go. So we are approaching I think this is the final friendly, and I'll come towards the end of the part for this one and the live stream once we've finished against Halifax. It's a bit of a big live stream, but that's because these streams sort of cover quite a bit as we go along. So we'll flow through. We'll tackle FC Halifax Town. We can't get Baker. I think that's going to get cancelled as a result of our lack of funds. I can see also just then as I press next, we've got a player out, but I think that's a loanee. Not technically our first teamer. See, I'm going through with the idea of discarding important things and not so important things. You've got to be that way when you play the game. So 6 to 9 days, again, it's not that long, but we've lost someone to injury. We'll let the team take over the game against Halifax Town and see how that processes. Let's see how we perform against Halifax. Away from home again as well, so that's good. And one thing, we played Solihull Moors, don't forget, their ground as well, so that's good. Okay, so we beat Halifax Town at their ground, which is good. However, we've lost a big player in Ashley Hemmings for 3. That's a long time. That is a problem. So we've lost a winger for 3 to 4 weeks, so we won't see him for the start of the season. And he was someone I wanted in the team to a degree, but sitting on the fence. Okay. I'll deal with that then as we need to. Okay, and Aggie Pong, who is Guardian. Oh, I don't want to click on his second name. I want to click on his details. He's English as well, so we might be able to go for this guy as an option. But I'm looking at what he offers us, really. His pace is okay. Flair's decent. He's got good dribbling, but he's not good at crossing, passing, finishing, heading, all the things I'm kind of looking for. So I'll have him on the short list, but he's not. I might even stick him on a trial, but again, I'm not really falling over myself for having Aggie Pong. I'll stick him on there. Maybe we'll bring him in on a short-term trial. There we go. Let's see how he looks. Believe it or not, it blocks people off within reason, or they could still. Many people want to know the chances of him earning stay. Well, the answer is I don't know yet, because we don't know yet. Simple as that. We'll wait and see. That was my answer. Okay. I am cagey. Well, I wasn't cagey. I was just saying you're asking questions and we don't know. There's nothing wrong with that. Right. So we've lost Ashley Hemmings. No point even having him anywhere near the first 11 or even on the bench. We've lost this man as well, so I'm not sure what we're going to do with him. We have a centre forward. Yeah, so this is where it becomes quite fun now. We've got to find a player who can sit in that position. Obadei. Probably not really. Doesn't offer this the energy. It might be that we hopefully wait out for 3 to 8 days and we bring in our loanee. We've got a game on the 5th. I think we might be okay. In terms of popping him into the first team. And then in terms of what we're going to put on the bench for what we have, and it was always going to be the case within reason, we're going to need a defensive midfielder. We haven't got a spare one of those. It might well be that with square peg and round hole scenario, really. We stick. that we could do with Aberdeen, because he's going to be a sort of forward style player. Cadogan doesn't really offer us anything, but I might have to stick him in the team anyway. I like Zach Brown, might be a good player to have. Just versatility, but he's not very good defensively neither. And that leaves us with an unknown space, which might be this guy just because of his versatility. In terms of defensive midfielder, he could play defending, he could also play on the left side, got a right side as well. So I think we've covered, but I am wondering about Cadogan as well, so I might keep an eye on that and play around with it as we go along. As we approach match number 1, we will shortly end this video, in this live stream, guys. I will end the share, and we'll come back to Twitch now. And as you can see, straight away, problems. Injuries, work permit issue. When it got agreed with Nias, I thought that was it. We were good to go, but clearly the work permit's going to cause a bit of an issue. We can reapply, and we will reapply in the hope that he gets a work permit for the second half of the season. But we go into the first game of the season coming up soon with the team that we have. And it's as simple as that, really. That's how we're going to flow. That's how we're going to do this. I'm going to end the live stream, guys. And I just hope that, we can go into that season with the kiddie team that we've already got. And when I say kiddie, by the way, I'm not being weird. Kidderminster Harriers. That's what we call them, kiddie. Yeah, we're going to go into that first game looking like with the 11 that we've got available fit. Yeah, we'll see how we go. I'm sure we'll do all right. I'm sure we'll do fine. First game away. We'll have a look at that tomorrow morning. I will post on my socials the time we're going to do it, probably around about the 10 o'clock, 10:30 mark. We will kick off by 10:30, and we'll do a live stream then and see how we do for the first game of the season. All right, guys? Fab. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. As always,